your agency against yourself. No different than if somebody was doing business in your name. No matter where they go around the world, they sign that name that don't belong to them. Why do you think persons that are called black, Negroes, and coloreds can't vote unless every second praetor of the corporation after the Senate of the House of Rome decides whether they want their cattle to vote with them names that belong to them? Why do you think it only applies to persons who think they're minorities? It doesn't apply to other human beings around the world. It only applies to persons who insist on trying to be somebody that they're not. And no matter how many generations that takes place, they're dead in law. That's what makes you a corpse. That's where the ens legis comes from. Do you understand? That's the 14th Amendment person. And that's why they gave the corpse the word person with the 14th Amendment. So then people get confused who can't read law. They see this a person and don't know what corporations are persons too. And so they send them statements of account in the mail with capital letters on it, which means person, corporation, and then you agree to be the corpse. And so as soon as you start making an argument, you're already dead in the view of the law, and because you accept it as a bill, which it isn't, you're obligated to pay. When actually it should be discharged, because you're under occupation. Of course, if you didn't know that, you're going to act like you're a debtor. Do you see the problem? You see the problem? Clearfield Doctrine. Go ahead.
Well, I got a question.
Go ahead.
So the corporations have been given the rights of people.
14th Amendment. In other words, when they did the spurious 14th Amendment, which was actually set up by field marshals, this was a disguise. See, because when you go into, you know, like why people are familiar when you talk about 40 acres and a mule. If you ask them to set some substance around it, informationally, most of them couldn't tell you.
The racist white man is mule. I want my mule. I want my 40 acres.
Ask them the substance around it, they can't tell you, which makes them incompetent. Now we're dealing with the 3630 parallel. We're dealing with, they would have to give us, repatriate the people on the land between the Rockies and the Allegheny Mountains, and they recognize that they would have given most of the land back. So they bumped off Lincoln, covered that up, etc., created the 14th Amendment, and created the artificial corpse person. Then they needed some nigger marching preachers to convince you to be people of color, which means artificial persons, and make you think it means Afrocentricity. And you agreed to be 14th Amendment persons, which is listed as called U.S. citizen.
So what do you say about the people who try to use their corporate or their corp status as a tool and try to gain the advantages of a corporation would have?
Well, when natural persons do that, as they have a consciousness of the secret treaty of Verona and the Spanish Inquisition, which is the real political background that's operating in the world, and particularly in North America. And so they're reclaiming the estate or the access to the estate, although they didn't create it, to have some cognate control over it. That's what that's about. And so usually they will authenticate the birth certificate, which is where the priesthood, the dark priesthood, the people our people trust, that told them separation of church and state, they're agents for Rome. You can go in any poor community, you go, before you get 3 blocks that way, before you get 3 or 4 blocks that way, before you get 3 or 4 blocks that way, before you get 3 or 4 blocks that way, you'll find a spy center. And they fund them themselves. They think it has something to do with Jesusness. They're spy centers, and they belong to the Jesuits of Rome, actually. And you're funding your own enslavement. Our people think Christianity means Jesusness. It means Constantine. The Niceno-Constantinopolitan Creed is the official name of what is presented to you as Christianity. And it belongs to the popes of Rome. It's a business hegemony system. And the Skull and Bones Agreement for the marching Negro leader guys who you think don't know this stuff is called a 501c3 agreement. And because our people don't read and they don't understand,
And so that's 501c3. That's what the preachers get for teaching the word.
they do. These so-called intelligent people that know God, Jesus, Allah, and Muhammad and everything.
Yeah, man. See, because when you teach the word, you get a 501c3 agreement. See, and then the tithing is 10% for God's word.
That 10% tax is Roman tax from Pope Sylvester II. You know, our people are so out to damn lunch. And the real horrible thing is that people you've trusted have been putting this on you and your generations, and this is where your suffering comes from. It really is. Come from the dark priesthood that you think love godness and Jesusness. Yes.
I was in Jersey last week.
What? You wasn't?
Yes, I was.
This is a corporation created on paper.
You know, you can't drive in Maryland.
Why? Maryland is a corporation. It's on paper. So you must talk about the aggregate land. That's why you got to start claiming your land. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Our people need to know the difference between corporations and the natural living, breathing beings and the organic land. And if you don't have claim on the land, then they put you in the corporation because you're listed as a corpse. That's why when they do those licenses, they put all capital letters because it's in the ens legis. Point. But this is what I say. This is what I say. As an example, people, Asiatics and Europeans too, and probably mostly Europeans because the middle class is being dissolved, so they're starting to expose more stuff. How many of you are aware of Lincoln Heights and some other townships or places in Ohio? And there's other places they ain't mentioned too around the country where they shut down the police departments. They had to park the cars. You know why? People starting to learn. They're starting to go after them bonds. And they start putting these people first person. They don't say the police department did it to me. They said Freddie Johnson doing business as a policeman without a bond was messing with me. And they tried to get me to pay a ticket. But I went in there and told the magistrate who pretended to be a judge, I came to get paid. Everybody else was paid. What's up? That's securities. Isn't it? So this is more like less what's happening. But that's how you're supposed to look at it. Because it's an estate. That's how you... So you're not so much serving two masters. You need to understand you have an estate that they've been hiding and controlling under color of law. Go ahead. Persons don't know the organic person from the corpse.
Well, I'm Frankie, and I want a peanut butter sandwich.
You know, or just like you said up here as an example, we can put an organic plant up here with dirt in it, growing nicely, and then we can get this plastic plant from Kmart and tell the people, come up here, we're going to test everybody, come water the plants. And then we'll see who puts water in both of them. And you know the one who puts water in both of them is either an imbecile or they're a minority. They got the mentality of a minor. That person cannot present themselves. They would be represented by a barrister from England because apparently they got the mind of a minor. They'd be listed as a minor, particularly if they start talking about human beings are crayons. First indicator. So we got to clean that mess up for real because that's what's messing our people up. Partially, it's other things, but those things are keys. And those are code systems that the European quickly tells who his property is. Because a human being will never dishonor his mother and his father, for he recognizes his pedigree. So you'll never see a Chinese come up here and talk about where's the light-skinned yellow guy's organization. Never happened. He ain't giving up his birthright. So when you see grown people run down,
You know, my light-skinned black girlfriend.
that's property. And they confess it out their own mouth. Who you?
Joey Smith. I'm Christian, too.
Oh, all right. Black codes, and then they get mad. That's what the black codes are for. Such persons outside of human family. However, it doesn't apply to nationals. That's why you see nationals come from around the other parts of the world. That crap don't apply to them. So they're not burned with that nigger tax. Are we clear? And it's structured right in society. It's not even hidden. It is just these people, they're hard-headed. You tell them that human beings aren't crazy. My uncle's black. Yes? Well, you can take them right to a dictionary. Heritage Dictionary, and you'll see black is Middle English. It don't go past 1100. And then somebody telling you ancient black anything, then they'll say derived from Old High German. Then they'll tell you it means pale and shining. Ain't got nothing to do with complexion. I'm black. Oh, you're a Paleolithic man? Because that's where it comes from. Paleolithic man is German. Our people can't even read. So no, somebody who's taking advantage of you is not going to argue with you. They're going to say, Ritalin. I'm serious. And so the codes apply, and then when they enforce the code, then we will call them racist. Well, race is called the species. I think the human species is called the race, and the human race is broken down into multiple families called nations. You can go to the United Nations, you can go on the World Courts, you can go to Philadelphia, and you'll see the flags that represent the nations of the earth. And I say the green people and the purple people and the light-skinned, orange-skinned, pinstripe people, and don't matter what color you are flag. The only people think that are people who have the mentality of children. Of course, they need to be represented by a man, particularly whose name they use in any daggone way. And they're going to tell you about their special personal connection with God and Jesusness. All right, anyway, go ahead.